Hello everyone, this is Bamidele from Delaroy Studios. You're welcome to another episode of Android Programming. We'll be talking about a simple web view in Android. A web view is just like a normal application, but is basically focused on launching a web page. It's going to call the HTTP, the URL link to a web address. So actually, I'm going to just explain it probably in details on how to create a web view, how to enable some modules, the JavaScript, the scroll down, and some lazy scroll through in the application. So I'll be heading straight to my Android Studio, which is my IDE for development, and by the left you can find the directories to the files. I will talk about the layout file, which is basically the show web view XML. Let's see how the XML layout of a web view actually looks like. Okay, I'll have to knock off this. Okay, it's just a linear layout which we are all used to, and a web view tag is placed as a child view in the linear layout. We give it an ID called WebView1, and the layout width and height is field parent respectively. Okay, that's fine for that. And I'll be going straight to my Java class, and I would like you to get a full grip of how to create a web view. This is a class that extends activity just like the normal way. It actually is going to run on API 1, 2, 3, even up to 21. But the latest extends is the app compat. So we declare some private button, which is the web view. And also the onCreate method, which is just like always been there. We set the content view to the layout of the show web view I mentioned earlier. Okay, the variable web view, we're going to pass in some details into it. We get the view by ID, which is the ID of the web view in question. And with that, we're going to start the web view with the URL, the universal resource locator address of where we want to call the page we actually want to call. Okay, there is a private method called start web view, which is actually passed into here. So we pass in the URL based on the string URL. Okay, guess you understand that. So we're going to create a new WebView client to show progress dialog when opening a URL or click on a link. So there's a progress bar that we keep rolling until the WebView eventually launches. Okay, based on the variable WebView, we set the WebView client, calling on the new WebView client, instantiated that in essence, and calling on the progress dialog, giving it a progress dialog attribute. So if you will not use this method, URL links are open in a new browser, not in WebView. So we created a Boolean method called should override URL loading, calling having two parameters, the web view as a view and also the string data type as a URL. Okay, passing on the view and loading up the URL. So we return true. That is if the URL links are open in a new browser. Okay, so we're going to show loader on URL load, which there is a method, a public method called onload resource, which is also having the view and the URL. So if the progress bar, there's an if statement here, is null. In standard case, your activity is this. So if the progress bar is null, we're going to instantiate the progress dialog. Sorry, rather the progress dialog. If the progress dialog is null, we're going to instantiate the progress dialog with a new keyword, and we pass in the show web view to this particular method. Okay, the progress dialog is going to set the message loading, and at the same time, afterwards, it's going to show. Okay, there is a method called onPageFinished. After it might have finished loading, but it's still going to pass in two parameters. So we're going to do a try catch, just to catch any exception. Okay, the if statement is right inside the try string. Okay, if the progress dialog is showing, the progress dialog dismiss, and the progress dialog is null. Do you understand that is gonna finish, when it has finished showing, and it's actually gonna dismiss and the progress bar will definitely turn to null. So if that doesn't happen, you're going to catch an error and it's going to print it to stack trace. Okay. There is one module I really want us to understand here, how we can trick more on our web view. You can see here there's a JavaScript enable on the web view. You must try to enable JavaScript, because for a website to launch beautiful, I mean the UI of the website, JavaScript is actually very, very important in doing that. So in a site where there's no JavaScript, I wonder how the site might look like. Okay, so we have to enable JavaScript. We get the settings and we set JavaScript enable to true. You can also do some other settings which I actually commented out here. You can set the load with override mode. You can set use wide viewport, and you can also set the scroll bar style. How do you want it to scroll? Is it the scroll bar outside overlay or not? You can set also the fading enabled of the scroll bar, and you can set built-in zoom controls so that you can zoom in into a view. Thereby it's just like how a web view, or let's say a web page, or a web browser of a mobile application like Opera, Google Chrome, how you can be able to zoom up into more focus to get more actual visualization of a particular aspect on the page. Okay, this is just I commented this out as well. You can decide to enable all those, so I will upload this to my GitHub account for you guys to pick it up and tweak it more. Just have a full grip of how to create a web view. You can decide to create a web view for a website. You can decide to create for your blog. It doesn't really have to add code or develop an application from the API calls. You can decide to just tweak up a web view for an about page, or you can do it for an help page. So it's actually needed too. You might not be creating a full-blown application based on web, but you can have some functionality from the web that you just really want it to show on the fly. You don't really want to go into much details in calling or creating a web service for it. Okay, so the load URL in WebView, you call on the same WebView variable to load the URL on it. Okay, so now we're going to detect when the back button is being pressed, when you have to press back, from the web page or from the front page of the application. So there's an if statement here. If the web view can go back, so you have to go back. There's a go back method in the Android API, or else you let the system handle the back button by itself on back pressed. Yes, that's the super from the keyword, from the super class on back pressed. Okay, that's fine. Without much ado, this is a very short tutorial, and I really want you to just have a full grip of the introduction into how to create a web view in an Android application. I'll launch this in my journey motions so that we can actually see it's being displayed. Okay, press focus. That's the progress bar, which keeps uploading. With this, the web view is trying to actually load up. So after it's finished loading, the web view loads, the progress bar disappears, and the web page will stay. Okay, that's the essence. Actually calling the web address. Okay, if you can notice at the background, the page is actually coming to focus. Okay, that's just it. That's the website of the Laurel Studios. Beautiful, mobile responsive. Okay, try and scroll down. Okay, that's fine. We do web development, mobile application, and database architecture. That's fine. Without much ado, thank you very much, my good listener, for following me all through my tutorials. And I hope you really understand one or two things here on how to create a simple web view. You can incorporate this into your application. It can be the app session, it can be the about session. It doesn't really matter how you actually use it, but you may not decide to just create an application based on just a web view alone. You can actually add it up to your mobile application. Thank you very much once more for listening to this tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I love you all. Bye bye.